Good evening and welcome to the Town of Deerfield Selectboard Board of Health Sewer Commissioner meeting of February 5th, 2025. This meeting will be held in a hybrid fashion with the opportunity for both in-person attendance and remote participation. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with particular interest in any specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. The meeting will be held in person in the main meeting room of Deerfield Municipal Offices. In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, anyone intending to record the meeting must identify themselves to the clerk, Blake Gilmore, and provide their name and address for the record. So I'll call the meeting to order at 6:01 p.m. And at this time, I'd like to welcome anybody who has 2 minutes worth of public comment to come up to the mic and identify yourself and tell us what's on your mind. Or if there's anyone online that would like to make a comment, please raise your hand. And I see a hand raised. So recognize Lily Dwight.
Thank you. I unfortunately have to run because of an emergency, but I wanted to take a moment to speak in support of that MVP proposal for, is it, I can remember if it's PL 566, speaking from the perspective of senior housing, because this is an opportunity to attract even more developers, I believe, because it would lower the cost to the developer by putting impervious pavement in the parking lot that they're going to have, right? So my understanding is that this could cover up to 75% of the cost of putting in the pervious pavement. So we'd get like a twofer for the town where we'd be more attractive to a developer and we would have yet another large containment of the floodwaters from the Bloody Brook. So that's my comment.
Thank you. Thank you, Lily.
Thank you.
Thank you. And also I would say, you guys are really soft.
We
Can
will
you up your
speak a
volume?
little louder.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I know online it's hard to hear. We will speak up.
All right. Thank you, Lily. Mr. Clark.
All right, Jason Clark, 81 North Main Street. Last week, I actually was able to attend, I know a few of you guys were there, to the Bloody Brook meeting there. One of my concerns is one of the glaring things that was said at the beginning of that meeting, and it was basically the different preventions they can take to actually get rid of or alleviate the flooding in the Bloody Brook. You know, they went on about culverts, getting state money to help fix that. I know we're talking now about permeable pavement, getting state money for that. But one of the simplest things that cost nothing was to change of the zoning, okay? And back in 2021, it was Article 8. There was amendment to the zoning bylaws, and it was specifically for the frontage of the municipal facilities on town-owned lots. Mm-hmm. My understanding is this was 50 feet, and it was the intention was the Leary lot, unless there was further intentions down the road. I actually think that if we're going to go on with anything with getting funding for permeable pavement, this and that, the first thing that should be looked at is rescinding that back to 200 feet for the town properties. And that's the town property. You guys are the ones developing on the Bloody Brook. So.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yep, thanks for your comment.
Anyone else? Online?
I had my hand raised. This was just a comment on.
Carolyn, just a second. Can you hear us?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Yes, I was just about to recognize you, so you can tell us what's on your mind.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say that the housing units are going to be a friendly 40B, so they're exempt from zoning. Just to remind you that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? See no further hands. I would now like to move on to our hearings and appearances, and I would welcome Allison Massley from Treehouse Brewing Company.
Thank you for the welcome. Always
morning.
nice to appear in front of you guys. And I believe I do have a presentation. I don't know if it's
Yeah, give me just one moment.
take your
I'm pulling it up.
time. There is also a video in it, but if we don't want
We're
to
not
watch that,
pressed for
that's
time,
okay.
yeah.
We can pass that. You guys can just enjoy it whenever you want.
Okay. It's good to have promotional material.
I enjoyed the video because it does showcase a lot of different aspects of the town
Great.
from the half marathon's perspective. So,
Awesome.
you know, we can
Great.
put it online or something if you
Yeah,
want.
that'd be great.
And to just let you guys know, I am here today to present about the half marathon. We are hopeful to have a third annual Treehouse Half Marathon on September 14th, which is a Sunday, and is in the same sort of time frame that we would have had it last year and the year before that. And I'll get into that a little bit further once the presentation is up.
Okay.
And I also know we are working towards a program to get pre-sale tickets for residents for different concerts. And unfortunately, we're still working out those processes.
Okay.
But we did launch Trampled by Turtles last week and JJ Grey. So if any Deerfield residents are interested in purchasing those, they can head over to the brewery and get those.
Okay.
And hopefully before these happen, I will have a system in place. But we do have an announcement coming February 11th, 13th, and 18th. So if nothing else, if you guys want to come over to the brewery and sign up for our mailing list, you are more than welcome. Otherwise, I will find a creative solution someday.
Great. Thank you. Okay.
I think last time we spoke, you mentioned that you might come up with a QR code and ask permission to post that here.
That is
so
my
that
hope. Yep,
when
a
people
QR code so that you can put
sign
your
up for a mailing
information in.
list.
Yep.
Yeah, and that way it would be something between you and the residents, and the town
Exactly.
wouldn't be involved, which is a great idea if you can work it out.
That way we don't spam everybody with emergencies or concerts, you know.
Right.
One or the other, right?
Yep. Okay.
Awesome. Well, so without further ado, I am hopeful to, again, host Treehouse's third annual half marathon in September. And then once more, the event is going to start and end at the brewery. And hopefully we'll take one of two previously designated courses. Some of that depends on whether or not we are successful with getting that Main Street Bridge back up and running. But thankfully, we have two certified courses, so we have an experience either way. And to ensure that this event goes off without a hitch, we continue to work with Deerfield Public Safety. I've met with police, fire, EMS. We are working with you all at the town, hopefully with the residents as well, and Dave McGilvery Sports Enterprises, which is DMSE, and they are the same people that host the half marathon, and the things that they can do with hosting a road race are incredibly impressive. So we are very lucky and fortunate to have them there. And then, you know, myself and the events team at Treehouse help on the back end and everything that happens at the brewery to make this a community event for everyone. And we will have another community liaison in 2025. So that way the residents throughout, you know, the time leading up to the half marathon and then on the race day have someone directly that they can contact, which I think really made a big difference between year one and year two.
It really did. Yep.
And we can move on to the next slide.
Sure.
This is the course map. And this is the second year's map that avoids that North Main Street Bridge.
Yeah.
And it basically is a nice big loop, except for that one section on River Road. And so that is our hope, but it is a very pretty section of River Road. So thank you to the River Road residents for letting us hang out up there. And finally, I did just want to address community involvement. So last year we donated around $17,000 to the Frontier School. We are going to maintain that $15,000 minimum and ask runners to also contribute additional funds to donate to the Frontier School and different athletics programs and things along those lines within the Frontier Regional Schools. There will be different volunteer opportunities. We were very thankful to have all of our water stations manned by different sports teams last year. I'm more than happy to recruit any other groups in town that want to help me volunteer that day, so I don't have to do quite as many steps. That would be great. So there are ample volunteer opportunities throughout the course and at the brewery and leading up to the event as well for bib pickup and things like that if you don't want to be at the excitement of race day.
Great.
And what we would like to offer this year, and I don't know the date yet that this would happen, but whenever it is announced outside of this room, we would like to open up registration early for residents. So again, sort of the same mailing list like we have for concerts. And we would also like to offer 50 free spectator tickets to get on site.
Great.
So that way,
That'd be fun.
you know, it is difficult to manage from a liquor license perspective, the occupancy. So we want to at least make sure Deerfield residents can come and party with us.
Awesome.
Listen to music, watch some runners and cheer them on site.
These are photos from the event.
And this is, so we
Awesome.
have some interior and exterior shots and some from the road. And that just kind of shows the different groups that came and wanted to hang out on, you know, what was our second good weather year. So
It
I'm
was.
hopeful
I know.
that, you know, that trend will continue, but I don't want to jinx it.
This
And this
you're-
was from the first year, these photos.
Oh, okay. The and you've worked with the date with like the craft fair.
I believe the craft fair is the following weekend, which is why
Okay.
we kept it this weekend.
Okay,
But I
good.
did not confirm that, so thank you
Okay.
for reminding me.
Just double check, on that. That'd be great. Good.
And that is all I've got for you right now.
Very nice. Very nice.
So, are you asking for anything from us tonight, or?
I wanted to at least get the message out there. I don't know if there's any sort of formal processes you have in place for me to request anything, but, you know, I ask for, if nothing else, your support in this, and we will continue to work with you to make sure the entire, you know, community also has reason to support it.
So one thing I would ask about is going through the minutes, and I think it was November 2023. I was reading the minutes I've got to approve tonight, and we were talking about that second ingress entrance. So I know it's been a long haul, and just wondered where you're at on that and
So,
what
yeah.
your thoughts are. So-
Absolutely. It has been a long haul on that one that I'm very actively pursuing. We do have engineered drawings.
Good.
Quotes have gone out to bid, so we are, you know, accepting, here's how much we think it would cost. The next step is going to be hopefully soon getting through the Conservation Commission, because we do, for that driveway, have to go through wetlands. And we will be doing a gravel road. So it's just a matter of trying to figure out the timing of, I think, slightly more soil samples,
Right.
which is a little tricky right now.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty frozen
But,
or
yeah.
wet. Yeah.
We are
Okay, good.
actively working on it,
Thank you.
and when we announce, we'll have a better perspective on that.
Okay, that's awesome.
I understand that that's one of the final things that the emergency action plan that you update every year with the safety departments of the town. That's one of the key things that they're looking at.
Yes, absolutely, and I understand it from their perspective. I know in the long run, it will make everybody's lives easier, just working to get it there.
Through the process. Yeah, appreciate that effort.
You mentioned also, I think, in a private conversation that you have a temporary fix if you don't get through the process of bidding and building and so
I
forth.
do, but I, in other conversations, am going to continue to very strongly work towards a final solution, because I think in the long run, it will just make the most sense.
Yep. Good.
Great.
Thank you.
So,
Great news.
are you going to start advertising for this now, or have you already?
We have not started to advertise it. You guys are the first to know about it, and the hope is to advertise about it soon, but I will make sure that you guys are aware of when that announcement goes out. And
Okay.
whatever residents have signed up for that pre-sale, pre-registration, once I
Great.
get on the ball and make some sort of process.
Sounds good.
So just to clarify, if there were 50 Deerfield residents who wanted to run, you're saying that they could get free admission, or is it just spectators?
Just spectator
Spectator.
tickets,
I'm
early
not
access.
volunteering to run. I just
No, come on, you can do it. It's only 13 miles. It's fine.
Yeah.
Nothing.
only if Blake
And with a
joins me.
really nice hill at the end.
Okay.
I hear if you walk fast enough, you could do it.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, so no official announcement yet. I will keep
Okay.
you all in the loop as to when that is about to go out, hopefully soon, so that I have more time to plan. But we never know.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Allison.
Thank you.
Great. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Joshua Sparks, the chief of the EMS department.
Hi, everybody.
Good evening,
Good
thanks for
evening.
coming.
I am here tonight to request the write-off for archived EMS receivables that are in with FFR, who is our secondary collection agent for EMS billing in the amount of $526,000, $550.40.
And 40 cents.
Yes. So these amounts, we've come to you, I came to you last year with this, or earlier this year, and this happened again in 2023. I believe it was November. Tim Drumgold came to you at that time. These are delinquent accounts that have not been paid. So what they do is they go into collections, and at a certain point, they end up in different status. In some instances, the person is deceased. There are several instances of bankruptcy. In some cases, there's no authorization to bill them if they live out of state in certain areas. And oftentimes, there's a small number of them that have been written off because of financial hardship, where they just simply don't have the ability to pay. So what happens is poor Brenda has spent countless hours here and at home trying to reconcile these. And in consultation with the auditor, it was agreed that this would be the most appropriate move. It's what we've done in the past, is to write them off. This takes them off of our books. It does not take them off of FFR's books. They continue to pursue the ones that they can pursue. So there's always that potential for additional revenues. But this lets us square up our books by eliminating that deficit.
Yep.
And do you have any information about the period that this covers? I mean, is this relatively recent debt, or is this over a longer period?
So the earliest ones in this batch, and this will be a fairly regular thing we'll be doing, at least annually, if not more often. In this batch, they go back to 2018. The most recent ones are from February of 2024.
So what's happening is some of these accounts have been sitting in collection, and they finally get kicked back to you. Is that how it works? Because we already wrote off 300 and something thousand already this year, I think.
Yep. So earlier this year we did. But what happens is some of them reach a statute of limitations where we can no longer go after them. Other ones are moved into a different status. And so it's always in motion.
Well, and I think, if I remember right, we wrote off from Comstar last time. And, you know, I was talking to Brenda a little bit about this before the meeting just to get an understanding of it. And this cleans up the accounting process, and it doesn't mean that we won't have an opportunity to collect some of this money. This secondary collection entity, other than Comstar, does their work, and if they do get some payment from it, they put it back on Comstar, and then it gets wiped off. So there is still the opportunity of money to come back to the town. It just cleans up the accounting part of it, because Brenda's been trying to reconcile between Comstar FFR and our books, and it's just been a nightmare. But she's watched that number steadily for 3 months, and it's stayed the same number. So we're safe enough to kind of write this portion of it off and get one thing off of her desk.
Precisely. More eloquently than I put it.
No, it's
Yeah.
fine. Thank you. So do you need a motion?
Yeah, I take a motion to
Yep.
do this.
I'll make a motion to approve the write-off through the accounting and on the recommendation of our auditors to of $526,550.40 from the FFR portion of the South County EMS books.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you.
Hopefully
Stay
see you
warm out there.
tomorrow if it's not too
See
snowy.
you tomorrow.
All right. Next up is Paul Olszewski to discuss the town clock.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome.
So you guys got you've got the invoice from Sean Kane. Okay. So I guess I'm here just to, I know there's been some accounting and whatever going on, so I guess I'm here to, if it's going to be approved, then I can get a hold of Sean and he can, schedule the work to be done. And it'll look nice. It really will.
So I haven't, is this the about time?
Yeah.
One? Okay.
Yep.
And that's to update the clock?
No, this is the material and labor to replace the existing fluorescent.
The lighting
The
inside?
lighting, they're shot, and going with LED lighting.
You're going with LED?
LED
Thank
around
you.
all four faces.
Thank you. That was
Yeah.
my question.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So it's the stuff that's up there. The ballasts are shot.
Right.
I think I tried flipping I think like one I got to work.
Right.
And I thought about turning them on, but it would look sort of half baked.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And you don't have to climb up there all the time changing bulbs.
well, it's fun.
Yeah.
If I may just interject, if you would just recap your the maintenance as
Oh.
opposed to the repair, and just
Okay,
give
so
them some
yeah, you
clarification on that.
guys also got the I asked Sean to update the contract for 3 years.
Right, which is moving to twice a year, correct?
Yeah, it was. He had it at 3, and I said, pull it back. And so it's number of visits in the contract for 6 visits for a cost of $550 each visit.
Yeah.
And if you saw what he did to do what he has to do, it's quite
The bargain.
It's
And it-
Right, so that will
it's a
fall
bargain.
that will fall into your budget.
Oh, you'd
that it
fall.
currently exists. And so what he's asking for is the consideration of the repair, which is the $2,800 from the last meeting in December 18th.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So the 2873
So
is the
back to your maintenance, he does it twice a year
yep.
at daylight savings time, so he moves the hands as well?
Well, I've done it now. I mean,
Okay.
He did do it by chance. It was just a matter of timing. But I've done
Okay.
it. When you have to turn it back, then I just turn it off, go away for an hour, and come back and turn it back on. And then I still have yet to figure out. About a month ago, I went by one day. I was during Christmas, right after Christmas, and it's 20 minutes slow.
Huh.
And I'm like, what? So I went up and following the instructions in how you have to do it, and got it back. But to this day, I don't know why.
Huh.
It's in.
Maybe
But it was running.
Power out, maybe something?
I don't know.
lost
I want to
power
ask
maybe?
because you go down in the basement at the
Yep.
church, and it's got its own breaker.
Oh, okay.
That was on, and then both nothing was wrong.
Right.
Up in the tower.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Huh.
So I made him aware of it, but it's been
Yeah.
fine since.
Good.
So,
Good.
but now we'll all be able to see the time instead of driving
the-
by and squinting.
The 2,800 to do the lighting is coming out of Do we have an account?
I think that's why he came back, is that we had left it open as to find an account. We discussed about possibly having it taken out of building maintenance
Yeah,
and
Makes
looking
sense.
at it at, possibly by the end of the year.
yeah,
you know,
do a transfer if
do
we
a
need to.
transfer. So,
Okay.
if you want to move ahead with the,
Yeah, I
With the
think we
repairs.
do. And
Yeah,
we
and,
also-
and DPW said that they had money in the building maintenance account to cover it for,
Okay,
but that, yeah.
maybe,
So
maybe
why don't we have
transfer.
two motions? We'll,
yeah. So I'll make a motion to approve the service contract.
Okay, I'll advise Sean of that. Okay.
in the amount of $550 per visit for 2 visits annually.
Annually, a number of 6 visits.
Yep.
Okay,
Second.
all right.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hill, GI.
And then I will make a motion to approve the contract of, it'd be $2,800 even, roughly?
Yeah,
About that.
2,873.
Yeah, 2,873
Even.
to do the repair of the lighting to the clock.
Yep.
Second.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hill, GI.
And I also feel like we're investing in that. I think I mentioned this to just Tim off the cuff, that we really need to look at cost to refinish the paint on the steeple.
You do. I mean,
and there's some carpentry to be
when
done.
I was, remember the church, I mean, you struggled. I mean, there's only so
Yeah.
much we could do.
Right.
And that needs.
It really does.
Now, was there money aside for working on the steeple in terms of shoring?
We did the 2 rafters, and I think when they looked at the rafter work, when they replaced it, they said that steeple is stable, it's not going anywhere, but it is crushed a bit, and he said if I guess maybe Tim could...
The short answer is that it does need to be straightened.
Okay.
And the engineering firm that took care of the structural defect in the roof structure pointed out that wood has been compressed on one of the main...
Yeah.
Yeah, and that to fix it, you need to grab it from the outside,
And
lift
push
it
it.
to the right position, and then put in essentially
Shim.
non-compressible shims.
Shims or whatever.
Yeah, so, and I think Trevor was right that we need to look at
The painting.
painting to make sure that there's no further
Yeah.
deterioration of the wood structure. So we will probably have to,
Get it
I was gonna-
in front of Capitol.
Yeah, because Sean does this stuff throughout the. I could ask him and say, does he know any paint? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
next
I mean,
to
it's-
my office in Pella, they this fall they had a company, and I got a photo of their truck and stuff, and talked to the guy, and he painted the steeple and the church and
All right.
everything there. So I
Okay.
got,
But the more the
yeah,
merrier.
more the merrier.
All
yeah.
right, I can
More the
ask him.
merrier.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is what he does for
People
a living.
must know other
Oh, yeah.
people in the
Yeah.
business. So
if you're in a steeple, you probably know
You're in a steeple, you
painter.
probably know what
exactly,
to do.
love to get that on in front of Capitol and find
Yeah.
some money to do that.
Just get the face done.
Yeah.
Lit up is one thing, but if we could get that done, which
Mhm.
we always did
It needs
in
it.
my years, but, you know,
Yeah.
Yep.
it's a lot of money,
It is.
so.
Thank you very much
Thank
for your
you.
work on
Thank
this.
you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Good night.
Good night.
So, Select Board announcements. Trevor, are you going to do this rec department stuff, or?
Yes, I will. I'll hit those quick, and then I just want to make a note to public that we're wrapping up the feasibility study for the senior center, and there is going to be a public presentation of that feasibility study and the 2 options that came out of that for discussion, and that will be held at Frontier because it's a 3-town, entity. We felt the best place to do that would be in the auditorium at Frontier on February 19th at 6 o'clock. We have the people who EDM who had done a lot of the engineering work on it. There's some schematics. There's kind of background of all the other studies that have been done to kind of talk about why the needs of the seniors. Why they need a space, how much space they need, how much money that costs. Came out with a couple ideas on where they could go and how much that all costs. It doesn't mean we're going that route, but just gives the public a good idea of what the needs were that were found and how much it would cost to do it if we followed that route. But that presentation should be good. We'd love to get as much public out just to hear the information and absorb it and ask questions. So that'll be February 19th at 6 o'clock at Frontier Auditorium. I've got a couple of things that Sue Antonellis asked me to read for the Recreation Department. So the Deerfield Rec 2025 baseball and softball registration will be open Thursday, February 13th from 5:30 to 6:30 at the Town Hall here. Baseball registration is for Deerfield children in kindergarten to 6th grade. Softball registration is for girls from Conway, Deerfield, Whately in 2nd to 6th grade, or you can print the forms off the website at www.deerfieldma.us and mail them to the Recreation Department or put them in the drop box in the lobby of the Town Hall by February 13th. For more information, you can contact Sue at 665-1400. Her extension is 107, or you can email the Rec Department at recdepartment or recdept at town.deerfield.ma.us. And then you light up my heart luminary night. So she's the Rec Department has been doing this, which is really fun for the community for the last few years. We have special people in our lives that make us happy, be it family or friends that make us smile in good times and bad. Let's celebrate those we love with a show of community spirit by lighting up our walkways and driveways with luminaries on Valentine's Day. Date is February 14th, 2025, which is a Friday. From 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., fill heart cutout bags or milk jugs with sand and votive lights and place along the driveways and walkways. Decorate your door and or yard with hearts and red lights. Drive around town and toot your horn to support all those who have decorated. Heart cutout bags and votive candles are available from the Rec Department. There's 10 bags and 10 tea lights for $10. To order bags and arrange pickup, again, call Sue Antonellis at the Rec Department or email her at recdepartment at town.deerfield.ma, or you can call her at 413-665-1400, extension 107. That's all I got. I don't know. Have we been here since we did our MMA?
I was just going to talk about that, so.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you. Yeah, great.
You got anything?
Oh, good.
So, as Trevor alluded to, we had the annual Massachusetts Municipal Association conference in Boston at the end of January. Several of, the select board went, and the town administrator and assistant town administrator, and these conferences allow us to work with, other state agencies directly. So we went to various conferences, among them working with fiscal and economic outlook, navigating difficult, politically contentious legal matters in a select board or town meeting framework. Also talking about accelerating housing production while addressing typical roadblocks. And we also, on the final day, had the opportunity to see our former assistant town administrator, Chris Nolan, and our current town administrator, Christopher Dunn, present in a discussion about the Leary lot was actually a focus of this, but it was focusing on federal funds. Now, recent developments have called those things into question, but we're fortunate enough to benefit from the programs that were existing at the time. And we also reached out to the Department of Revenue and DESE to talk about school issues, among other things. And so we heard from our governor and our lieutenant governor about their plans for the coming year. And all in all, we also attended Maya-backed programming that gives us discounts on our insurance, our town-wide insurance policies. So all in all, it was a good experience, I think.
For my first time being there, I thought it was a great experience because we got to meet other city councilors as well as other select board members, mayors, and people were talking about the problems they had in their own cities and towns, and the fact that, excuse me, but I've got a cold, I'm trying to speak up, so anyways, in talking to them, found out that some of the problems we had, that we have, that we're facing, they're facing as well, but on a higher grander scale than we do. So I thought it was pretty interesting, and they talked about some of the solutions that they used. So I thought it was invaluable to go there to meet up with different people from throughout the state that could help us, or just give us some ideas of where we need to be going.
Good.
And finally, I just wanted to mention that we're facing every budget year is a tough budget year, but we are facing a confluence of things happening this year. The police and the DPW and the schools are all out collective bargaining, so they're working on their next 3-year contracts, and at the same time, our insurance costs are looking at escalating about 18%.
Yep.
So
That's a huge jump.
we typically ask our departments, chiefs, and the schools to build a budget that anticipates level service, which is providing the same service as you did the previous year. I'm asking Christopher to reach out to the department heads and ask them to also look at level funding, which is not spending any more money than you spent last year. Not that we anticipate that we won't be able to make the budget work, but this will allow us to understand the ramifications of if we have to ask departments to spend less or spend the same, what would they have to do in order to make that possible? So I just wanted to share that with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Is anything else from the board? All right, so now we'll move on to the minutes. Or is the Board of Health here? Do we have anything from Ned? I think he just wanted to mention one thing.
Yeah, he shared a report. Give me one moment. I'm just going to pull it up and
Thank
walk
you.
through it really
Okay.
quickly.
I'll do you want me to do the minutes first?
Oh, sure.
Oh, it's up to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll knock out the minutes while you look for that. So I'll make a motion. There's a whole raft of them here, and I can't thank those enough for doing this. I think Adam's been working on it, and others. So
Hard to keep them all straight.
yeah, or Alex has been working on it. Yes, thank you. Yeah, there's a lot here. So went through them all. There is one adjustment I think that Greg already caught. For the date just needs to be changed on the top, which was I think for the 8th.
March 8th.
March 8th, yeah. So other than that, they're good to go. So I'll make a motion to approve all of these minutes. So we have an executive session minutes of January 22nd, 2025. Regular session minutes for January 22nd, 2025. Let's see, for April 17th, 2024, April 9th, 2024, March 20th, 2024, March 6th, 2024, February 7th, 2024, February 5th, 2024, MVP, February 2nd, 2024, January 31st, 2024, January 10th, 2024, January 3rd, 2024, December 27th, 2023, and November 30th, 2023. Make a motion to approve all
Second.
those minutes. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
It's got to get us close to.
Yep. Well, it looks like we're actually up to date in January of 2025. So
Very nice.
that's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
And we vow not to get behind.
Right. Thank you, AI. Thank you, Alex.
Okay, so back to the Board of Health briefly.
Sure, and I'll just mention a couple of things that Ned brought up. One, obviously, there's been an outbreak of GI-related illnesses among schools and daycares and elsewhere. So just he's reaching out to school officials in regards to that. But just a reminder, everyone, be careful, wash your hands thoroughly, often. Same way you would vote,
Yes.
So. And beyond that, I did want to mention Cindy, our public nurse, is going to be out for a little bit, and Master Totaro is going to be filling in. I believe she's done that in the past, so I think people might know Anne a little bit from her work here and in Sunderland and other places, but she'll be helping out for a bit. And in terms of inspections, Ned inspected the DA and Eagle Brook ice rinks. He did food inspections at Bamboo Asian, Neighbors Convenience, Deerfield Convenience, Hillside Pizza, and Newmarket Cafe. He dealt with some complaints on River Road, and he also completed his Tier 2 housing training with TPH. So any questions from board members or any thoughts on public health issues we want to bring to Ned's attention?
No, I'm still concerned. I mean, it's cold out, and we do still have some homeless that are dealing with. You know, it's difficult when you're struggling, and I thought I saw like something on 5 and 10. It was, so I'm hoping that police are involved in that. But we just want to try and find ways. I've been thinking and talking to FERCOG a bit about trying to find those resources to help when families are struggling and it's super cold out and it's difficult to be living in a car right now. It's been a hard winter. So for those that have usually been used to getting through winters that aren't so bad, this one's been really tough, and just really want to work on and think about ways that we can reach out to entities to help people in those situations.
So I know the police department is well aware of what's going on 5 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is, anybody driving by anybody else or neighbors of somebody that's having trouble getting heat into their house,
Yeah.
I think that needs to be, reported to the point where just get it to somebody so that maybe we can get some help for them.
Save a life.
So, the old see something, say something type
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
And just Greenfield does run overnight heating programs, shelters for anyone who you know of who might be in a situation like that. I involved in this Massachusetts rescue organization that flags up looking for volunteers to sit in, make sure that the shelters are safe for the people that are there.
Yep.
So anyone that wants information about that, we can provide it to them.
Great. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Christopher, on Ned's behalf. Next up we're going to put a table on the sewer abatements, or did you have something else?
I got something. So I talked to Brenda a bit about this. So we have a sewer abatement at the Tilton, because that's been shut down for this whole cycle and has not been using it. So they had put an abatement in, but I didn't have the bill amount. But talking to Brenda, she believes it was that minimum usage charge. There's still a connection fee charge. But the minimum usage, I was going to make a motion to abate that because they're at a spot where if it's not abated tonight, then it's past time, and then they have surcharge on it. It's just a waste of money for the town. So I was going to make a motion to abate the sewer abatement and then talk to Sarah tomorrow about it. Come in and just deal with that. That way that we would forego that. The one at 28 Conway Street, I just need a little more information. I don't have any sewer bill on that or usage bill, but I think it's same situation as we did last week, where there would be a connection fee, but there's no one's been in the house and it hasn't been used since 2019, I think. So we can't abate previous years, but we could help this year. So we will look at that, but and I just want to make sure that bill was paid, because we can only abate bills that haven't been paid, or have already been paid.
Do we need to take action on North Main Street?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to approve an abatement of the minimum usage charge at 75 North Main Street
Second.
for the previous billing cycle.
All right, any further discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
And I'll talk to Sarah tomorrow on that to get that squared away.
Okay. Next up, are we going to have anybody in the audience presenting, or? Next up, we have an award of land conservation assistance grant for the survey of the Pecumtuck Rock property in the amount of $35,730. If there's anyone from the Open Space Committee who wants to discuss this with us, otherwise I'll have Christopher Dunn talk about it. Christopher, over to you.
Yeah, I'm happy to speak to it. Yep. So, just as a little reminder, so this was prompted by back at around special town meeting. We were looking at putting Pecumtuck Rock under Article 97 protection. We were wondering, given that there are utility towers up there, what the impact of that would be there. So we wanted to have a professional land survey done just to make sure we're absolutely sure that those facilities are not going to be negatively impacted by permanently protecting the land. So Julie Caswell, the Open Space Committee, took the lead on this. I provided a little bit of information around land surveying specs, and they managed to get this land conservation assistance grant in the amount of $35,000. So it's great. It's going to be, I believe we're going to have, we got quotes from a few different surveyors, and I think Berkshire Design Group, who of course we've worked with a lot in the past, I believe is the firm we're going to go with for the survey.
Great.
So that work may take a little time to kick off given the weather and the state of things up on the rock, so to speak. But once it gets a little bit warmer, that work can get done, and that'll facilitate the opportunity to once again consider placing that land in, Article 97 protection.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
So we need to make a motion to approve the reception of the award and authorize you to sign for the town.
Couldn't hurt.
All right, so I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion. It sounded well thought out. It was great.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
All right, all those in favor?
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Julie.
Yeah, thank you for the work.
I know you're not here tonight, but
No, really appreciate it. That's great news.
All right, and then the next topic is was brought up briefly at the at our select board meeting to interview planner candidates. We are looking the MVP core group, which works on resiliency issues in town, is asking the town to write a letter of interest in exploring how the town can pursue help from the PL 566 Water Protection and Flood Prevention Act office, and so we have asked Christopher Dunn to write a letter about this. We're going to discuss it, of course. So, Christopher, do you want to talk a little bit about what you've done research on us for us?
Yeah, sure. Happy to bring it up. And I know Carolyn is obviously a great point person for this effort, and so she's, I'm sure, available to speak to it as well. But I would just mention, I did have an opportunity after that meeting on Thursday where the board decided we wanted to look into it a little further before moving forward with a vote. I did have an opportunity to connect with someone at the Conservation Resources office in Hadley, talk through what is involved with what's called the PIFR, the Preliminary Investigatory Findings Report, which is essentially where you figure out whether or not your watershed is in fact eligible for construction funding, through the federal government for this kind of flood mitigation. And so I spoke with them a little bit about it. Sounds like it's a very light lift for our staff. Fortunately, it's really a process that it's prescribed and they'll run with it. And essentially, as I believe was mentioned in the MVP core group meeting, given that we have this hydrologic study of the brook already, there's an opportunity to sort of hand off those findings to Conservation Resources and have them use that to build out the PIFR in anticipation of findings in which we believe we'd be eligible for further federal funding for construction.
Great. I mean, my feelings on this a bit are that it is devastating for people on Bloody Brook who, year in, year out are dealing with the flooding that happens. It dissipates, a few days later, but during the time they don't know how much of their house is going to be flooded or not. And it's a strain on everybody on that section, and I'm glad that we're doing the studies. The other part of me is that I'm always concerned about staff time and how much we have going on in town, and so I'm thankful to hear that it's not a big lift for us at the moment, and it does kind of maybe opens up the window to possible funding to help with culvert covert work in the future, so anywhere we can get help to do that. So those sound like both win-wins for me to keep moving on this without, a huge distraction. So I'm in support.
Yeah, and I think that the MVP informational session, we were lucky to have people who live in the area for many, many years who came out and shared information with Field Geologic Survey Services and GZA, who are the two parties that are helping us with both the Bloody Brook and the Sugarloaf or Blacksmith Brook studies. And, that's one of the purposes of the meeting was to elicit information from residents because the project is really, some of the field work is done, but a lot of the science is still yet to be undertaken, and the modeling of how the system works is in the works. So there'll be another meeting in the future to share, the modeling and what they've discovered. And so, do you have any thoughts, Blake?
Yeah, after talking to Christopher, and he explained a little bit further how this is going to pan out, I'm definitely in agreement with moving forward with this. I'm just concerned again about, the method and how we're going to get it done. So after speaking to Carolyn the other night, I will be attending some of your meetings coming up so I become better familiarized with the process.
Great.
And understand a little bit more about what's happening here.
Our MVP meetings?
Yes.
Oh, good.
That'd be great.
Carolyn, did you have I think you had your hand up.
You're
Say that by writing the letter to participate, it opens it up for other stakeholders and other landowners. Like Pelican can, apply for, say, replacing their parking lot with pervious pavement and a holding tank. Definitely Bloody Brook Farm. I have been talking to James Heller. He's already doing the paperwork, so he'll be eligible to participate because that's obviously one of the choke points already that most of us know about. So,
Right.
But by participating, all we're doing is identifying other solutions. All these holding tanks and the stuff that like Portsmouth, New Hampshire's been doing that I've observed over the years, or what Cambridge has done. Those are just my ideas, and what this will do is open it up and have, that's part of the PIFR, is to identify other solutions and who are the other players that we would have a possibility of participating, like the state. We obviously know the culvert by Fisher's Garage is in ill repair. So obviously that would be something that would be not town-owned or town responsibility, but would be having the opportunity for the state to participate too. So it's a kind of a win-win because it takes the information that's generated by our hydrology study, but then it goes a little bit further, almost to the design phase. But again, it's 100% paid for by NRCS. The design phase, should we choose to go on, or we could pick projects that we as a town wanted to participate in, that's paid for 100%, as well as all the permitting. Then you have to decide what you're doing, and that you do want to participate in that final solution, and then it's paid 75% of the final solution.
That's great.
But those are different phases down the line. This just
Right.
triggers, yes, there's a flooding risk. We have residents at risk. Our town is at risk. Nobody has flood insurance. We want to mitigate it. And what are the possible solutions? That's all we're participating in at
Sounds
the
good.
moment, which is what most of the information, as Christopher alluded to, will come from the hydrology study.
Right.
But I don't know who, Christopher, did you talk to Darren Davis?
Yeah, I believe it was Darren. Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, Darren Davis is a state engineer, and he is willing to work with both Field Geology and GZA because he's had a relationship with them. And of course, they're the ones that are doing our hydrology study. So it's it's a win-win for all of us, really.
Great.
Great, thank you,
Thank you for your
Carolyn.
work.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate the help.
So, do we have a motion yet?
I think, I'll make a motion if we haven't already. Motion to support the letter of support to the Dan Wright State Conservationist Natural Resource Conservation Service for the PIFR program.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you very
Yeah, thank you. I thought she.
All right.
Didn't we already accept Joanne Carney's resignation?
We may have. Is that a redundancy, or did we not take action?
I think we got it right at the end
Oh,
of.
but we held off?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I know I remember seeing it, so.
I mean, it's also a moderator's appointment, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So we don't have to do anything with it? Okay, just noticed.
And I,
So
and I know Holly's here tonight, and I know Holly had applied to fill the vacancy, and it sounds like the scheduling's not going to work out, possibly, Holly, but. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, I'll follow up with you then. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Appreciate your patience.
In any case, we'd just like to thank Joanne Carney for her work on the Personnel Board. As Christopher mentioned, she was a moderator's appointment, and he will be the person who decides who will fill the vacancy.
Gotcha. Okay.
So is there any correspondence we want to share?
I don't think we have any at this time.
No.
I'm happy to speak to my report at this point.
Love that.
Perfect.
Really quick, just want to put a plug in. Sarah Kimball, our treasurer collector, has been going through, tax title properties, and we've got a handful that have been identified as land of low value. And so we are looking to schedule an auction for those properties on June 3rd of this year. It's just 4 properties right now, all of them vacant, and happy to share a list down the road so we can take a look at it.
They would normally go to the town meeting, right, for approval to be auctioned?
Yeah, I've got to check with Sarah on the
I
exact
remember
process there,
doing
but
that at another time, seeing it go through, and then
Gotcha.
then it went
Yep.
on after. Yeah. Okay.
yep.
Good.
And I actually visited the one on Baker Street just to see, and it's as we suspected, it's a very steep, and it looks like an undevelopable lot. It's adjacent to 2 other lots that have a similar topography, and 2 of those are owned by the house that is adjacent to it. So,
Great.
all right.
Okay.
Yep. And then I did just want to speak really quick to the federal funding pause. Obviously, there was I guess I would call it a hullabaloo.
Is there not?
Yeah. So obviously there was a lot of executive orders and memos that came out in the last couple weeks. Given that we have federal funding for the Leary lot, the 1888 building, there's a loan for the South Deerfield wastewater treatment plant. And Stillwater, of course, once we get there, that would hopefully be partially federally funded as well. This concerns the town of Deerfield.
It's all waste.
It's all waste, yeah. At this point, it's the pause is on pause. And so we received, notice from the DOJ basically saying, at this point, federal agencies are not supposed to be dispersing funding as they normally would, and as a local political entity, we're notified about that. So just wanted to kind of put that to bed for the moment. We're still expecting to receive all the funding we've gone out for. And then I did want to bring up the old Deerfield wastewater treatment plant. I know DPC had provided a kind of one-pager on a possible phased approach.
Yes.
Hoping to set up a meeting with them some point soon, possibly as a special meeting separate from the regular select board agenda, if that would work for folks.
Sure.
That's an option.
I talked to David, I think last week, and was kind of requesting at least just some sort of ballpark figures, not like put out a full RFP or something, but just like what do we think electrical would be? What do we think the the grinder and the pump channel would be, and then like, what about the tanks? Just to have some sort of ballpark to talk about. Not doing a major overhaul, but at least mainly that electrical one, because that would be phase one. But yeah, would love to set up a meeting whenever everybody's ready, and then we can talk with all those involved. Great.
Great. So I'll reach out to Dave, and we'll see if we can find a time, possibly next week, given that's an off week for the select board.
I'm just a warm body, but you're doing the heavy lifting! Exclamation point. Thank you so much.
Oh. Just want to add a comment about federal funding. Before the courts stepped in and clarified the situation, I participated in a webinar with Senator Markey in his office, at which, we basically just clarified that the town is interested in working closely with the Senate, our two senators and our representative to, address this sort of, the courts have said it's not the proper way to do things. So we'll be working closely with them to protect our rights, and the monies that the Congress has allocated to Deerfield is money that Deerfield should receive. So we're going to be actively involved in, as much as a select board can influence the national government, we're going to try.
Where the rubber meets the road.
So
where the rubber meets the road.
Well,
Yeah.
and
We do the
maybe
work.
get the residents involved, and some of them could be writing letters as well.
yeah,
Good.
We'll see whatever makes sense to do. I mean, these are programs that we in good faith acted on, and were granted this award, these awards, and we just want to make sure that we don't expend money without getting what we were promised. Okay, so
I've got just a handful of other updates.
good.
Great.
If that works. So really quick on the personnel front, so we're very close to completing negotiations with who I hope will be our new town planner. So
Wonderful.
more good news to come on that front very shortly, I believe. Public Works Superintendent, our screening group, and that's Bill Hildreth, Pete Lankowski, and then also Chief Pachurik and myself are going to be meeting this week to do some preliminary screening interviews. We've got a
Great.
good crop of candidates, and I'm hopeful from that process we're going to get a new great superintendent as well. We did post a mechanic position, so that's out there, and I believe we've gotten quite a few applications to date that Chris Miller is reviewing. And then I did just want to highlight, we also are hiring a new wastewater treatment plant operator. Eric, I believe, had a former employee come back and who's interested, and we happen to have someone who's retiring at this time.
Yeah.
So that job is posted and out there, and hopefully we'll have that filled very shortly.
I know it's Gary's going to be his last day. I'm not sure exactly when, but I just wanted to take a moment to thank Gary for his service to the town. He, when we didn't have anybody but Gary to run both plants, he worked tirelessly.
Gary's last name for the
Gary
public?
Benoit.
Thank you.
And he is, he's just one of those employees that you're really thankful to have in an emergency when, leadership's gone and other people are gone and you can't get any help. And he was there for us and making sure that, everything flowed. So very, very grateful, and I wish him all the luck. I know he's going down to a little bit warmer temperature down south. So very happy to have him serve Deerfield for all that time, and I'm very grateful for his service.
Yeah.
So back up a little bit, Chris, with the
Sure.
mechanic, and you've got the younger guy that's in there working on the vehicles now. What's going to happen with him?
Yeah, Jaden Melnick. Yep. So Jaden has been offered the position of operator in training / maintenance technician. If we hire that mechanic position, some of those maintenance duties would shift. But he's aware of that, and he's been a great addition to the team. From
So
everything I'm
he's
hearing.
going to stay on board. We're not going to
Correct,
replace
yes.
him. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thank you.
he's a great add to the town.
Yep.
Good worker.
Really quick, I did want to mention Town Common. So we're going to have Rep Blay here next week, it looks like, and her staff. And I did let her know, her staff know we'd be interested in talking about the town common, where that sits, the relationship with MassDOT and all of that, particularly given the Elm Street, Complete Streets funding we've received. Stillwater, site visit with Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs was completed a couple weeks ago, so we got to actually walk down to the below the bridge with the hydro company, and then also the mitigation land we're looking at further upriver that the town currently owns. And I also got a chance to meet with our legislative delegation and MassDOT and just discuss timeline. It is a tight timeline from the legislature's perspective, so we're going to be working really closely with them to try to get the Article 97 legislation passed in a timely fashion. The challenge is just, once you get into the fall, they don't control the calendar, and so they're kind of at the mercy of the Senate and House clerk and when they schedule things. So
whatever, if they need, testimony from us, whatever they need, just let us know the date. I'm happy to go to Boston or at least get on a Zoom.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Real quick, also, 1888 hazmat bids are out. We did have a pre-bid walkthrough the other morning and had a couple interested firms come by and some who contacted me afterwards. So hopefully we're going to get good competitive bid on that project. The clean out is proceeding apace. We should be, I believe those bids are going to be in on February 12th. So we might want to look at possibly that's a good date to schedule a special meeting and talk to DPC and check off some of these other items.
Yep.
Greg, you want to mention anything about how the Bloody Brook, Sugarloaf Brook meeting went the other night?
I think many of us were there, and I thought they did an excellent job. Rosalie and Nick, did a wonderful presentation on where they are and where they're going with those grants and the hydrological studies that they're doing. I think it led into the PIFR grant, which then became a conversation, which I'm glad that worked its way through and led to the recommendation of the letter. So that's great. The only thing I would add, if you're done, I just as far as on my end, things that I've been working on. The one that the land of low value, which I think is actually it's very interesting.
It's like free cash.
Yeah, you're like, why is the town getting rid of that? But I think it's important to say to the townspeople, just because you're taking it to auction does not mean it's going to sell, because they're of low value for a reason, which is often it's because no one wants them. It doesn't mean that no one will bid on them. They might. It might be worth something to in a butter, or for whatever reason. But there's no guarantee on that. And then the only other thing I would say is that we're getting more information on the EV chargers in terms of the what kind of revenue they're generating, and I think we're in good shape. I think we are covering our monthly expenses in terms of the electricity versus the revenue coming in. I do believe we were probably in the black by about $200. But I think we do need to have another at least month or two just to see where things land. Yeah. But we're in good shape.
I think there was discussion at the finance committee a bit about not this year, but maybe at some point talking about a revolving fund. That way you can kind of track it a little bit better. But there does need to be some time go by before we go ahead and do that. Yep.
Great. And I will just say Elm Street, I just did want to mention, we've got a revised proposal from Ty & Bond for final design through construction administration. It's still a bit high, so I'm still going to keep working with them on that front. Hoping once we've got the new planner on board, this is a project that they can really run with, because it's a really exciting opportunity for someone in that field.
Yep.
Beyond that, landfill solar, just wanted to mention the planning board did endorse an A&R on Monday, so that single parcel rule can be conformed with that DPU has for net metering. And then lastly, just we talked about we had our admin team meeting on Monday and talked about the town meeting warrant. Obviously, we got to start working on that. We've got a running list of items, including that revolving fund for EV charging, but hoping to get a draft in front of this board at the February 19th meeting, so we can move that forward as well.
It's amazing.
And I have one final thing that I don't think we touched on, but the library received notification from the MBLC that they're going to accelerate their payments. So we're going to get our 4th and 5th payments this year, which will benefit the town by reducing our short-term borrowing loans. And we're also going to be working with the MBLC to ask them if they could accelerate the 5th. Now that they've told us they're going to give us money this year, we are locked into a bonding cycle where we have to bond in November, and we would like to get them the final payment, the 5th payment, in October, so we don't have to wait a year to take the benefit of getting this money early.
Right.
So, and we have a good relationship with MBLC, and hopefully we can get them to see the sense of helping us in that way.
Yeah.
It's only about 15 or 20 days.
Yeah.
So
That'd be great.
we keep
Glad you're on
everyone
that.
posted.
Good deal.
Anything else?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.